This is an introduction to our tessellation project. So a tessellation is a series of repeated shapes that fit together seamlessly. And this is an example of the work of M.C. Escher, and we're going to be doing a project similar to this. Here's one that is partway complete. You can see it is a shape that fits together seamlessly and repeats. And I'll show you how to start this. Turns out really cool. It's a fun project. You're going to see these are the steps that we're going to be using, and you will get a copy of this. First of all, we're going to start with a square, and then we're going to make a shape on one side of it and cut it out. And we're going to slide it over and tape it on to the opposite side. Then we're going to cut out a shape from another side and slide it up and tape it onto this side. And then we'll be able to trace this shape again and again onto a piece of paper, and it should fit together seamlessly and tessellate beautifully. So let's get started. Now we're going to do it a little bit differently than what's on this page, because what's on this page is a shape just randomly in the middle of the side. And in order to slide it over and tape it on in exactly the right spot, you've got to do some pretty tricky measuring. So it's a lot easier instead if you draw your line from the corner to the other corner. So that's exactly how I did this tessellation. You start in the corner over here, and you do some kind of a line, and it ends up in this corner over here. Then all you have to do is cut it out, slide it over, and tape it on. So let's cut it out. You do have to cut it out all in one solid piece. It all has to stay connected. You can't just cut it apart into little pieces. This all has to be connected in one whole piece. Also, when you're drawing the line, you want to make sure that it is a line that you would be able to cut out with not too many little jagged edges that might be very difficult to do the cutting on. So you might want to just think about that when you're designing your tessellation line. This is something you're going to be cutting out, so don't make it too tricky. And cut it all the way to the corner. Now, whoops, this is the problem with the tessellation project. You want to make sure that your piece slides in exactly like a puzzle piece. And then you're going to be sliding it over to this side and taping it on. So take a little tape. Make sure that it is matching up exactly from the corner edges. And you might need a couple of small pieces of tape to make this work. Beautiful. We're halfway there. Now we're going to cut out some kind of a shape on this edge and slide it up and put it over here. So we're going to draw a line that goes from that edge over to this edge. Again, you don't want to make it too difficult to cut. This is going to be a little bit challenging for some people to cut out in one solid piece without breaking it up into little pieces. So make sure this is something that you can cut out in one solid piece so it all stays connected. And it goes right to the corner. Now, make sure you have it so that it fits in just right, just like this, and then slide it up. Make sure you don't flip it over. It needs to be exactly in the same direction as it was down below. And now we're going to tape this on, same way. Now if your tape sticks out a little bit on the edge like that, you'll need to trim that off, because if it's sticking out, when you go to trace it, it's going to be in the way. Beautiful. Now we've got a very cool looking tessellating shape. Now we're going to start drawing it onto our paper. So here's how we start with our paper. We're going to put this template in the center of our paper. Make sure that it's really in the center. And we're going to draw a line around the edges. This is going to make it really easy for you to make sure that your tessellations are all lining up and they look really nice and neat. And this is exactly how I did my example, this one right here. So we're drawing that square outline so we have a white border around the edges. Okay, so now here's my tessellation, and I have to line it up in the corner here. So an easy way to do this is to take this corner right here and line it up into the corner of that line. Now, we're not going to be tracing the part that goes out onto the white edge. We're only going to be tracing the part that fits inside of this square. If you have a mechanical pencil, this is a good time to use it. Makes it a little easier. Okay, so I have traced that part of the tessellation. Now I'm going to slide this over, and you can see this fits in right here. So I'm going to put it right where it fits. I'm going to make sure that this line, this piece is lined up just exactly straight, and it's in exactly the right spot. And now I'm going to trace all the parts that are inside the square. I'm not going to be tracing this part up here that's outside of the square, but we will later when we move this over and that shape is on the inside of the square. Looking good. Now we're going to slide it over and line it up so that it fits together just right like a puzzle piece, and trace it right here.